I'm your host, Salim bin Mohammed Rafi. Here is your YouTube channel, Zumair Universal. Now, finally, the cat is out, and the dirty, filthy post Gaza, after genocide is finished, and every Palestinian child, every living thing, men, women, injured, cancer patient, handicapped, doctor, journalist, churches, roads, sewerage, electricity, water, baby formula, bakeries, everything which sustains life is all completely finished and destroyed. You couldn't find anybody in the world so cruel, even with the baby or kitten or a little baby of a deer. But we have some dirty I don't think even should even call them pigs. Even pig, I think, would only scavenge and spare a lot of things and what not kill around. Will only just destroy the sugarcane field to feed his piglets and himself. But we have to, the dirt, filth, even things they have surpassed Pharaoh, even they have surpassed Namrud, even they have surpassed Halaku Khan, if they have surpassed the cruelest person on earth ever since the creation of this universe. That is now, when you look at the Netanyahu and his, illegitimate or illicit, adopted father, a mad king suffering from leprosy or some sort of a very serious disease which has given a black coloration on one of his hand, he keeps hiding on his neck, on his back, and that usually occurs after, many people have got that after the, RNA or messenger RNA based vaccination as a complication, or, molesting children, and you get it from when you are having, mutilation of their genitalia, and you enjoy the suffering, So when you got these two devils got together, and about Netanyahu, you can know that there have been lot of things said that he is not a human, he is not a child of a human, but a jinn, a Satan or Iblis, and call it with any name you want, was neither angel nor, from descendant from Adam. It was a jinn which you cannot see, but they exist. Even all the holy books mention about them. And he refused to listen to God Almighty, his own creator. So he came down on earth. Sometime he fascinates by a woman and he has a marital relation, but obviously he doesn't marry her. He forces her or rapes her, and a child is produced. And that is what is this devil's child, is in Netanyahu. And devil's child, you can see, I'm sure there must be millions in this world to get most people to the deepest pits of hell on the day of judgment. But you got, and by, I think, an accident, you got a man who was never a politician. He was known as a child molester. There were 16 women gone against him in the court that how he molests. Even traveling in there, his hand used to go up in the skirts and look at their, menstrual pads, and they are looking for a little hole, and you can see the dirt and filth of that man and how low in morality he is, and what kind of a person you got elected him in the first time. And then imagine how the Washington, when there was a session going on, how the speaker Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence, and how they went hiding, and how he supported those white supremacists to come up and attack. Never in the history of United States you seen such a hooliganism, a glass broken, and they really occupied. So this was a revolt from within. And then when he ordered Pentagon to take action, and they said, look, Constitution, we took oath not to protect your white supremacy, and we not to protect these rascals, the criminals who have come to attack the lower house, the Congress. We are here only to protect the country. Unfortunately, even they are not speaking the truth because they are all slaves and they work for the Jews or the Israel or Apex. And every person living in there in the United States is for the last 35 to 40 years after the assassination of JFK is a slave. And you can hear the rabbi, Jewish rabbi saying that all we use Christians, we do all sorts of bad things to them. We strip the clothes of their girls and daughters and wives and put them in the play club and see their backs, and we gamble over there, we enjoy with them. Never ever you will see a Jewish girl or a woman as a bunny in the Playboy club. Never ever you would see the woman in prostitution houses, where they will find a Jewish girl. Never ever you will see in the, this so-called, the fashion shows or Miss Universe, Miss Canada, Miss America, Miss whatever. That is just a way to get the girls to strip and change clothes, and they, poor girls, are trapped. And when this guy, regular visitor to, Jeffrey, seen little island where the child from 3 years old to 12, 13 or 14 all were they are kept in the hostel with lavish, I think, thing to have their sex desire satisfied. And once reporter asked him, "Sir, Mr. Donald Trump, could you please tell us what is your red line where you will not spare a little child?" He said, "I have no red line. Even 3 years old girl is good enough, or 5 years old, or 7 years old, or 10, 11, 12. So imagine a 3 years old girl, your daughter, and see the screams and yells of that innocence when her genitals are torn apart by a swine. Only a pig or a dirty dog can do this. And that in the presence of Mossad, Netanyahu, and people hiding and taking, the videos of the naked, not only him, Prince, people to list which he's been hiding, that Clinton, even you see Bill Gates, even though Prince Andrews, you name it, the visitors who've been there, and you see those little girls, and I'm putting up a little, and when he with him is seeing those, and see the innocent girls, think how terrified they are, and those girls see how he have got them dressed. Could you ever imagine anybody using them for sex? And so what is a devil, is a swine, a womanizer, child molester, a mad person who you can see what he has done. Has he made America great again? You look at his trade war, look at his dirt, filth, and his greed to occupy Gaza. Look what he has been planning. Look at the document which has not been made public yet, which he has planned for Gaza to get every Palestinian out. And for him, he can, buy anybody, not only Mohammed bin Salman, or not only Qatar, or not only the Europeans. He has insulted even NATO chief, he insulted even the Ukraine president, he has insulted the Jordanian president, he has insulted Narendra Modi, he has insulted, you name it. There is not a single, even his own, security woman, very noble, very, she said that about Iran, and he fired her. So he's been acting as a dictator, and he still is doing that. And Congress is sleeping, so is Senate, so are governors, because they are all paid touts, they are all slaves, they are all supposed to worship the Jew, the dirtiest, the filthiest, even one who doesn't have a teeth in his mouth. So that is what you people are all. Work, and all the taxes you pay, they are spending them to their, masters, which are the Jews, which that Harry Truman, although he had the place in Africa where he wanted them near Ethiopia to settle them, then suddenly when he was asked, right in the heart of the most sacred land of prophets, where Prophet Abraham, where not only one prophet, where hundreds of prophets and their descendants are buried, and he just let these people come with sunken eyes, barefoot, their behinds naked, and emaciated without food, because These were which were spared, or you can say they ran away, or they were leftovers of Hitler's incinerators and gas chambers. And look what they have done, what a gratitude they paid, and how they took 99% of them, and even that 1% that is the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, they want to annex it because of this dirty, filthy criminal. And you see for yourself why is he doing that. Then you would like to spit on him, and then you thank God that there is a parallel now when you see the whole almost the head of the states gathered there and see the Chinese parade, and then I think fear them. Your days are over, and the bad king has buried you. He has sunken the ship you have enjoyed for last 100 years, and vetoed, and arrogance, and your pride, the false pride, if that reflected even in your own states, the way you treated California, the Los Angeles, the way you sent the feds, and then you, in New York mayor, you said that I will make sure that
the betrayal of Palestine, Arab complicity in genocide. Brothers and sisters, and to the rulers who hear these words, Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, Qatar, Egypt, Jordan, and the rest who hide behind silence, I speak to you directly. You call yourselves guardians of Islam, protectors of Arab dignity, custodians of the holy sites, leaders of the Muslim world. But what have you done while Gaza burns? What have you done while Palestine bleeds? While children dig through rubble with their bare hands, you have turned your backs. You have extended your hands not to your brothers in Palestine, but to those who murder them. Saudi Arabia, you move step by step toward normalization with Israel, opening your skies to their planes, whispering in Washington's ear that you are ready to make peace while your brothers and sisters lie in mass graves. You hold the keys to the holiest places in Islam, yet your silence on Palestine is louder than any sermon. You buy weapons from America by the billions arms that strengthen the same empire that fuels Israel's bombs. What is your excuse? That your throne depends on their approval? That you fear Washington more than you fear God? Your silence has become your shame, your betrayal, a stain that will never be washed from your legacy. Emirates, you have gone even further, rushing to embrace Israel openly. You did not just whisper, you signed. You turned the betrayal into law with the Abraham Accords. You opened your ports, your banks, your arms to Zionists while Gaza was being starved and bombed. Today, Israeli companies flourish in Dubai. Your armies train together. Your officials smile alongside the very men who order massacres. How can you parade yourself as a modern leader when your progress is built on the bones of Palestinian children? Do you not feel shame when you walk in your glittering streets knowing they are paved with betrayal? Qatar, you play a clever game. To the world you pose as Gaza's benefactor, Al Jazeera amplifies their cries, and you hand out aid. But your aid is drip-fed under the watchful eye of Israel, a leash to control resistance rather than a sword to liberate it. You host leaders of Hamas, but only under conditions written by Washington and Tel Aviv. Do you not see that your support has become a cage, not a path to freedom? You have made yourself the gatekeeper of survival, not the ally of liberation. Do not pretend this is solidarity, it is control. Your hands too are stained with the shame of calculated betrayal. And Egypt, your betrayal is perhaps the heaviest of all. You hold Rafah, the only door not controlled by Israel, and instead of opening it to life, you turned it into another wall of death. When Gaza screamed for food, medicine, and mercy, you shut the gates. You watched children die for lack of antibiotics. You watched the wounded bleed out because ambulances could not pass. You destroyed tunnels that carried bread and water, not bombs. And when convoys from across the world, people of conscience from Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas came to your borders begging you to open Rafah so they could deliver food and medicine, what did you do? You did not open the gates. You sent your soldiers to block them. You forced them to stand in the desert sun while people in Gaza starved a few kilometers away. They begged you with tears in their eyes. They pleaded for compassion, and you answered them with barbed wire and rifles. Shame on you, Egypt. Shame on your generals. Shame on your leaders. Shame on every hand that held those gates shut while Gaza's children cried for bread. Jordan, you, who claim to be the custodian of Jerusalem's holy sites, the guardian of Al-Aqsa, yet year after year you renew your treaties with Israel, you coordinate intelligence, you ensure that no true resistance rises from your soil. Your people march by the millions, they cry for Palestine, but you answer them with silence and repression. You claim to guard Al-Aqsa, but in truth, you have guarded Israel's security. You let occupation thrive while pretending to hold keys of honor. Do you not feel the weight of shame, standing as guardian of a holy place while you betray its people? But this betrayal is not new. It stretches back decades, carved into the wounds of Palestinian history. In 1978, Egypt signed the Camp David Accords with Israel, breaking the Arab front and normalizing with the occupier while Palestinians remained stateless, displaced, and under siege. Anwar Sadat shook hands with Menachem Begin while Israeli tanks remained in the West Bank and bombs fell on Lebanon. Egypt claimed peace for itself while leaving its brothers behind. That betrayal opened the door for others. Jordan followed in 1994 with the Wadi Araba Treaty, giving Israel not only recognition, but water, security coordination, and legitimacy. While Palestinians were being choked by settlements, Jordan turned occupation into a legal neighbor. In the 1990s, the Oslo Accords, shaped and signed under the watchful eyes of Washington, created an illusion of peace while entrenching occupation. Arab states applauded it, funded it, and pressured Palestinians to accept crumbs while Israel expanded settlements. They knew it was a trap, yet they played along, trading away resistance for photo opportunities and handshakes. And now in our time, the Abraham Accords have brought the betrayal into the open. The Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, Sudan, they signed with Israel without even pretending to secure Palestinian rights. They signed for weapons, for trade, for recognition from Washington, and they paraded it as peace. This is not peace, it is profit from genocide. Saudi Arabia stands on the edge, waiting for its turn, negotiating openly with Washington about when, not if, it will normalize. Even as Gaza burns, their talks continue. Even as children are buried under rubble, they plan their next deal. And while all this unfolded, where were the Arab armies? Where were the so-called defenders of the Ummah? Not in Gaza, not in Jerusalem, not in Jenin. They were in Yemen dropping bombs on the poorest nation in the region. They were in Libya, in Syria, crushing their own people. They were in their own streets, jailing men and women whose only crime was raising the flag of Palestine. All of you together, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, Qatar, Egypt, Jordan, you do not just stand by. You crush your own people when they speak out. You jail the voices of conscience. You silence imams from the pulpits. You chase down activists on social media. You unleash tear gas and prisons on your own citizens who cry for Gaza. You fear the rise of a free Palestine, because a free Palestine would inspire your own people to rise against your corruption, your palaces, your fragile crowns. You fear resistance more than you fear occupation. You fear your own people more than you fear God. Do not pretend your hands are clean. The evidence is carved into history. Emirati handshakes with Zionists, Egyptian bulldozers destroying the tunnels of life, Jordan's treaties securing water for Israel while Palestinians thirst, Saudi intelligence meetings with Mossad exposed again and again, Qatari funds trickling into Gaza only with Israel's blessing. Every deal, every silence, every sealed border is complicity in genocide. Every action and every inaction is a mark of shame. And so I say to you, rulers of the Arab world, you may silence your people today. You may crush dissent with fear. You may bow before Washington and Tel Aviv, but you cannot wash away the blood of Gaza from your hands. You may think your thrones are secure, your wealth untouchable, your palaces unshakable, but history will not remember your riches. History will remember that when Palestine cried for help, you stood with the oppressor. When children screamed under rubble, you sealed the gates. When convoys begged you to let them deliver bread, you blocked their path with guns. When the world demanded justice, you chose betrayal. The world is watching, your people are watching, and God is watching. You will face him on the day when no throne, no palace, no crown, and no American alliance will save you. You will stand before him with the blood of Gaza on your hands. That day is coming. And on that day, your excuses will turn to dust, your crowns will be worth nothing, and your silence will condemn you louder than any voice could.
It's true that the current US administration, led by convicted felon Donald Trump, has given free hand to Israel to murder as many innocent people as it wants and attack as many countries as it wishes with impunity. Don't take my word for it. Listen to this clown, Tom Barak, who is Trump's special envoy in the Middle East.
October 7th, the world for Israel has changed. Their notion of what their mandate is and what our borders and boundaries and lines has changed. So I think it's safe to say in Israel's mind, these lines that were created by Sykes-Picot are meaningless. They will go where they want, when they want, and do what they want to protect the Israelis and their border to make sure on October 7th never happens again.
But it's also true that Trump is busy fulfilling war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to ethnically cleanse Gaza with the help of another war criminal from the UK, Tony Blair. Blair is someone who once violated every single law in the book to illegally attack Iraq and commit a genocide of over 1 million innocent people, as well as destroying an otherwise prosperous country in the Middle East. If there was a rule of law in this world, this chap should have been jailed, should have been spending the rest of his life behind bars. Sure.
Why do Americans have to be shown that Israel is about to be annihilated? And what are the consequences of that to America if Israel is annihilated? Wait, let's say it like this. Nuclear armed Israel. Why do we have to be shown on TV 24 hours a day nuclear armed Israel being bombed and attacked? And why do we have to be fed that when we're not fed that about any other war anywhere else?
Being manipulated. That's why.
Yes.
Why all the flags, the foreign flags in the Congress? I was just up there last week, and every member has a foreign flag. Not every member, but a lot of them. The Republicans all have Israeli flag.
Taking money from the Israel.
From AIPAC.
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually a misnomer because the people who raise money are individuals. Right. So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members who believe in the American-Israeli friendship and relationship.
Is AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action Committee.
What does it lobby for?
So, to be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress 13 years ago with the stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Great. For military aid, actually correction, US taxpayers fund Israel $3.8 billion annually for military aid. That means every US taxpayer is contributing to Israel's military actions. I don't know about you, but I don't want to pay for genocide in a foreign country against a foreign people for a foreign war that I had nothing to do with. And I will not.
About Ivanka Trump's relationship with her father. A young Ivanka could always count on her father to answer her phone calls, no matter who he was meeting with in his office at the time. During a 2016 interview with CNN, Ivanka recalled phoning Donald up at 10 years old by calling collect to the Trump Organization from the janitor's closet at school and hearing him put her on speakerphone in front of his peers. Ivanka explained, "It was colleagues, it was titans of industry, it was heads of countries. He'd always tell everyone older and became a public figure associated with her father's empire. Donald took more liberties in how he referred to his daughter in public, often joking about her beauty and figure." In 2016, CNN unearthed several examples of Donald making eyebrow-raising comments about Ivanka's appearance on Howard Stern's syndicated radio show. It began in 2004 when Donald agreed with Stern about his daughter being, quote, "a piece of ass." In a subsequent 2006 appearance on the Howard
Jasmine didn't answer him directly. She kept her eyes on Trump and Ivanka. Her voice was calm, but sharp enough to cut through the heavy air. You accuse me of lying. You accuse me of fabricating stories, but I don't speak without proof, and right here, in my hands, is evidence. Trump immediately jumped in, his voice booming. Fake! It's all fake! Don't believe a word she says. It's all made up, another witch. Hunt, another disgusting smear attempt. But his shouting only made Jasmine's stillness more powerful. She slowly opened the folder, the sound of paper brushing against paper echoing louder than his voice. The audience leaned forward, straining to see. Jasmine pulled out a stack of papers and held them up for the cameras. These are not rumors. These are not opinions. These are documented records. Legal papers, hospital records, DNA reports, all pointing to one truth that has been hidden for years. Trump slammed his hand on the desk. Lies! Those are doctored. You can make anything up these days. Photoshop, fake signatures, fake DNA, this is garbage. But Jasmine didn't flinch. She turned toward the cameras, raising her voice just enough for the entire audience at home to hear every word clearly. These documents are verified. They have been cross-checked, signed, and notarized. This isn't gossip. This is fact. And the fact is this. Ivanka Trump is Barron's real mother. The room exploded. Gasps filled the air so loud they drowned out the host's attempt to regain control. The audience members clutched their mouths, some shaking their heads, others whispering to each other in disbelief. Trump stood up, pointing a finger at Jasmine, his face redder than ever. How dare you? This is an attack.
Israel will have an absolute enormous amount on Trump. He was so bankrupt, in for $1 billion. Wilbur Ross came in, still working for the Rothschilds at the time, organized 72 banks to bail out Trump. Trump is who Trump is because of that bailout. Sheldon Adelson and Miriam Adelson has given him $100 million for this election campaign. The strings of this, Donny, moved the US Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, done. The Golan Heights of Syria becoming Israeli territory, done. There's a location in the Golan Heights now called Trump Heights in appreciation. Part of that agreement, this has been reported in the Jewish press, Trump at some point in this presidency will sanction the Israeli annexation of the West Bank. They've got most of it now anyway. And so you've got the blackmail, you've got the fact that he's beholden to them because they saved his backside, and you put that lot together and it's no surprise, is it, that he does whatever Israel tells him. The deep state wasn't vanquished when Trump came to power. It just changed its personnel.
In Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable to, if people would focus on kind of building up livelihoods. You think about all the money that's gone into this tunnel network and into all the munitions. If that would have gone into education or innovation, what could have been done? And so I think that it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there. But I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterward. The thing that I would try to do if I was Israel right now is I would just bulldoze something in the Negev. I would try to move people in there. I know that won't be the popular thing to do, but I think that that's a better option to do so that you can go in and finish the job.
Oh my fucking Christ. I had to record this because I've just read the news story coming from the Washington Post that Donald Trump is going to offer Palestinians $5,000 to move. He's also going to offer 4 years worth of subsidies to rent and enough food for a year so that America can then take ownership of the Gaza Strip for 10 years and rebuild it in whichever way they want. Of course, also in there, aiding and abetting in this proposal is Tony Blair, the most satanic, money-orientated genocider known to man, giving everything an air of sort of respectability. This is the proposal that's going to come out of the White House. This is a document that's doing the rounds at the White House and in Washington. A 25-page document. $5,000, 4 years worth of rent, a year's worth of food, and the possibility in 10 years' time of coming back into the Gaza Strip. But you'll have to redeem a digital token in order to live there.
That, it is not ever elected there. Who the hell are you? If you wait one vote, one man, and you believe in democracy, why are you doing? If you were arresting and asking Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama that they interfered in your first time, then you are doing worse than them. So look into the mirror yourself and you will see the dirt and filth and that. And believe you me, look at that, the cardiac arrest of that, filthy Ariel Sharon, who walked with his shoes on when the people were praying in the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and he was laughing and smiling. So imagine the nature kept him on the life support for 8 long years, and in the 214, when he died, underneath his skin there was only a pus, dirt, filth, smell, such a stringent throughout the hospitals, till they begged that bury him, because any time it can burst like a balloon and water will come out and you'll see the bones and a horrible ugly look. And that is what, the liquefied body, smelly, filthy dirt of that little midget was buried in there. And there the other, the people who gathered there in the front row were the dirt and filth of their, one of them, the Tony Blair, with the blood of, Iraqi people on his hand. So does his apology matter? It doesn't. Whenever this temporary ceasefires matter, does it matter than how he killed Yitzhak Rabin and how this Netanyahu arranged that? Why on earth after him there has not been single assassination of any Israeli prime minister, with so many demonstrations against Netanyahu? Why the same Jew? Why one single Jew? He could have repeated that. The reason is very simple. Zionism, they get together in dirt and filth to keep and spit on Christians, keep them as slaves, use their money and ride on their shoulders and then rule the girls. But unfortunately, your days are over, and let me now just let the whole world, what the plan of this dirty man is called. So Arabs should wake up and see and immediately cancel all the accords from Camp David Accord. Also they are already dead. I think Jordan's 2 accords should be all, I think, buried. And so the Abraham Accord. So please understand the enemy and read the Holy Quran, that never ever be yours. So you stop trusting sports, sending your trillions of dollars. Just like Russia, they will confiscate it, they will take it and they will use it, give it to Israel to kill you, fight you, as they are doing in Ukraine, and giving the same money, the Russian money of 200 billion, to the president of Ukraine to use against Russia to bomb Moscow. See, same thing is going to happen to you. So this little thing, which is not public, and you are not going to see that because the document is still lying 40 pages. This is the plan he has, to throw them out and give them a little tiny plastic card, 5,000 per person, and so that they leave. 5 years he will give them money and food and send them to some desert to die, or in Africa, so that he can build his Trump villas with Jared Kushner, and obviously with a share of those dirty, filthy 3 people, Netanyahu, Ben Gvir, Smotrich, and maybe few more others, some living in there in the United States. There are 12 organizations along with Apex who are controlling the federal, they are controlling the whole of America. 250 million slaves is not ordinary thing, sir. One single madman sitting there and draws power from your vote is now with his executive order. Imagine in the country and imagine throughout the world. Are you in peace? Can you now walk and go there, have any respect in any part of 47 European countries, or in Australia, or in New Zealand, or Japan, or even South Korea, or India even? You can't. So imagine, these are not cracks, already the empire is broken, and this is video really to draw attention of the whole world, especially the Arabs, that that's kind of a plan he has for Gaza, and this is why there will be never a ceasefire till the last Palestinian is killed by starvation or by genocide.
यूनिवर्सल टेलीविजन को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, उसके बाद बेल बटन पे क्लिक करें और अपने कमेंट्स के सेक्शन में अपने कीमती जो ख्यालात का इजहार ज़रूर